Now, well, good evening, welcome. This is PJNet.TV. I am your host, Coach Prasick, and Stephanie Pavlantos joins us from her residence in Ohio, and she has a lot of news tonight, and we are so glad to have Stephanie as part of our team. But I don't want to steal her thunder. I want to bring her onto the big screen. I'm going to make some adjustments while she's on the screen. We are hurrying here, but there she is, Stephanie Pavlantos. I'll help you spell the name, Stephanie Pavlantos. Well, Stephanie, I am not used to seeing the background that you are in, and I know you're not in a hotel room. What happened?
Yep. Um, I had to move upstairs. I had to bring all my equipment up here because we are redoing our floors downstairs. And while they're all pretty much done, it created a lot of echo. And people were telling me that there was echo. So I go, oh, so I was talking to my husband, and he's like, yeah, you need a carpeted room and all that. So since my daughter is gone um, for the next year, I stole her room. So
Okay. Well, there's a bigger purpose because you have never cared
there
that
is.
there was an echo. You have never cared.
Right.
I noticed you've got this new microphone. So
I
something
do.
it sounds like that there's more to this than what is evident in what you just said to get rid of the echo because
That's right. I am starting a podcast. So I have been feeling like I was to do this for probably a year and a half, maybe even longer, and kind of like saying, no, 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 I can't do that. Too much to learn. I don't want to do that. I'll just mess it up, or I won't be very good, or, we make a whole list of reasons why we can't do something. And um, then, so this is the second time at Blue Ridge. I went to a podcast class, which Linda Goldfarb instructed,
mhm.
and I was so impressed by her teaching and her instruction for it. And so I started making, kind of like, all right, maybe this is something I could do. And so then I went home, got home, and after a couple weeks of reading a few books that I had gotten that had actually nothing to do with podcasting, but the subject of some of my books was giving me direction on exactly what the Lord wanted me to do in this podcast. And then I started getting excited about it. And so um, I just started reaching out to people, asking what they do, how they do it, and started listening to a podcast. Um, and boom, I caught the bug, and I went out and started buying some equipment. And, I actually started lining up people who could be on my show. I've talked about 13 or 14 different people. I just talked to one today. And Gina Hood, and
Oh
asked
yeah.
her, and yeah, and she was like, yes. And so I just am talking and getting people lined up that I can start sending out the invitation, and I got a calendar app. So yeah, it's been kind of fun. So it's been exciting to get that bug and kind of get excited about that instead of the dread that I had before.
Well, you had tinkered with doing this on YouTube.
I did. And Linda gave a very, very good suggestion. She said, if you haven't done voice yet and you are still learning just to get your voice out there, then don't start with audio and visual,
Mhm.
the video, I should say. And that sounded good to me because, and while I've been on your program and I have, gotten used to being on your program with you asking the questions and me talking, um, I have not used to having my own channel and doing all the questions, asking all the
Hmm.
questions and lining up all the guests. So I thought that was good advice to start with just the audio portion. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, welcome to my world.
So
I'm
that's
really
right.
proud of you. I really am, and I am. I'm
Thank you.
curious to know more. I don't know if we want to use up our time tonight, but you went to that class. It turns out I'm teaching a class
Hmm.
at a conference in April of
I
next
heard
year,
that. I'm
and
excited for you.
my goal is to be qualified to teach it by the time April comes around. But podcasting is will be part of it. You know, it's part of marketing, and
Okay.
I've been hanging around writers and authors, been to conferences, and I keep hearing, you've got to get into the digital space. You've got to gain platform. And how many times did you hear that
Hmm.
before you decided to do it? And I sincerely believe
Right.
that there are legions of Christian content providers out there that need to take this step. Now,
Hmm.
let me ask you this, because let me guess, somebody's watching this and they're saying, well, no, because, well, why did you say no for so long? And what made you take the jump?
I was uncomfortable with content. I was uncomfortable with, I didn't know the format that I needed to do. So I was, people were telling me, oh, get on and teach. Okay, well, that's easy for me to teach when I have someone to talk to and I have people in front of me. I'm a teacher and I need a classroom, and that's just how it is for me. I need faces to see and talk to. So the thought of being on anything and not seeing people's faces, not being able to talk to somebody that I could actually see was intimidating. And then coming up with the content every week, I was just like, I don't know if I can do all that. That's a lot. But what made me take the plunge is I was reading a book that it was actually, as you might imagine, it was um Finding Messiah was the title of the book, and the author is Jen Rosner. I had seen I had seen a interview of her, and I was so impressed with her. And then I got her book, and as I was reading her book, I was so touched by her story, and I'm like, I want to interview her, and I want people to hear her story, and then even during the book she talked about being grafted in,
Mm.
and then it was like the Lord just said, grafted in. That's what you are. You are grafted in. We as Gentile believers and Christians, we are grafted into this Jewish root, Jewish tree. And so I just thought, I this is a perfect name, and I just got so excited, and I started telling my husband, I started telling a couple of friends, not too many. I just wanted to get their kind of feedback, and but little by little, we tweaked out the rest of the title, um, and then I was just super excited. So then I had started making a list of people that I wanted to invite on the show, and I started asking them, and they started saying yes, and they started like I started hearing that they were excited. And then I had another person tell me, this is such needed material. So it was like one affirmation after another. And I'm getting all tongue tied just trying to tell a story. But then I just knew, okay, Lord, I'm going the right direction. I'm hearing and doing the right thing. And then I realized, you know, for me, all the years that I've been teaching on the Jewish roots of Christianity, our Jewish roots within the scriptures, and trying to show people the Hebraic scriptures through, or let me just say it this way, probably the Christian life and the Christian scriptures through a Hebraic lens.
Hmm.
Not because I'm Jewish, but because I have love this. I love this learning that I have been doing. And as a result, I think I just froze.
No, you're good.
Um, but okay. So as a result, I was like, okay, so I don't have, and I'm first to admit, I don't have all the degrees. I'm a biologist for crying out loud, but I'm a researcher and I'm a studier and I love scripture. So some of the things I've been teaching over the years, I'm like, if I get people on the show who can speak into the same things I've been teaching and I have been talking about with whomever will listen, they can validate the very things that I'm passionate about. Not that I, not that I need validation, but it's showing that, hey, there's a whole lot of people sometimes who say, well, what's your background or what's your degree in or
Hmm.
this or that. And
Hmm.
it's like, well, I'm a biologist, but
Yeah.
I can do other things. And but I just felt like this was partly they could validate the things I've been teaching. They can add to the things I've been teaching. They can teach me more. They can teach my audience more. We can have a really good, intelligent conversation, but also hopefully just open people's minds to there is a whole nother culture out there, tradition, a Jewish tradition, and let me just say it's a messianic tradition of people who have a lot of knowledge that I'm excited to get to share to an audience. So
Stephanie,
that's where I am right now.
I am hoping that many Christian content providers, writers, authors, bloggers, I hope this is seen
Mm-hmm.
because uh, you took your time, but you took this step. Now, the funny thing is,
Mm-hmm.
there's a shallow end of the pool and there's a deep end of the pool. Shallow end would be once a month. But no, Stephanie dives in the deep end
Yeah.
once a week. Did
I do. I know I
it,
do.
not knowing, when I just saw the picture, the graphic that is adorning our studio behind me,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, there's no one more gifted and more prepared than you to talk about the Jewish roots of Christianity. But I thought, okay, she can do that for probably 12, 20, maybe 30 or 40 weeks. But you're going to be podcasting weekly for more than 40 weeks. Have you given that any thought?
I have. Because I'm also a teacher, I know that there can be weeks where I teach, but also some of these guests have so much to say. I really want to keep the podcast about 30 minutes, but I also see that there are guests that I have on my list that could probably talk for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of those guests I really intend to have on more than
Mm-hmm.
once.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's just like, so one of the things that started happening that when I started asking people and even putting it out there on like Christian podcast guest, it's a Facebook page. Suddenly I had 3, 4, 5 people recommending other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting 2 names from each of them, at
Mm-hmm.
least 2
Mm-hmm.
names. And then I reached out to Eva Marie,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Oh, I know people who could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I know messianics." And so I realized it's like, "Oh, there's I could make my list grow tremendously." And so what I want to do is, get my first 6, 8, maybe 10 weeks under my belt and then start launching those. And then during those weeks, then start getting new guests and just dive in and start interviewing.
You're about to find out
So yeah,
how
I'm
many
excited.
minutes goes into a 30-minute production. Uh,
I know. You're right. There's a lot I don't know already.
There, yeah. Well, it's all good, and folks, I want to join Stephanie and others in a absolute chorus saying Christian content providers, whether you're an author, a writer, a blogger, a contributor to a devotion, whatever it may be, folks, there is a whole new world out there, and we need to make this move. And I am ready to help, and you've gotten
Yeah.
help from Linda Goldfarb. You've learned from one of the best. You also
Hmm.
mentioned Misty Phillips, who is
I
very,
did.
very
From
dedicated.
Spark.
Yeah, and there are people who will help you, and I encourage that. Now,
Hmm.
that's not the only announcement you have. It's not brand new, but
Right?
something you're working on is now contracted.
Yes. So I don't even know. Was it about 7, 8 months ago that I was on this program talking about being a special needs mother? And out of that program, Star Airs saw it. And then we were on together to make the announcement that we were going to write a book together. And we put it all out there. We asked people because we decided we wanted it to be an anthology because there were a lot of mothers and parents and grandparents and siblings like us who loved and love a special needs child. And so as we put that book together and we got it sent out, we got some endorsements and we sent it to my publisher and they were excited and they're like, yep, we're going to give you a contract for it. So we got the contract, I guess, maybe 3 weeks ago. So now we are putting together the final touches on the manuscript as far as we're concerned. It hasn't been edited, but we're putting everything in there that we want to make sure gets in there. And now it goes to them for the editing. So they've got a whole timeline, and the release date will be right now it's November 1st. So that is the working
November
release
1st of
date
this year. God bless. Oh man, I am
of
so
this
proud
year.
of
Yes.
this year. Now, I forgot to ask you before I
Thank
segued
you.
into that.
Hmm.
You got all these plans to do the podcast. When might we hear the first one?
That's a very good question because I'm thinking August. I have a few people that I couldn't be interviewed, and I say interviewed, but it's really a conversation. But that we couldn't actually get together until August. So I want to make sure that I've got them all ready to go, those particular episodes ready to go for the launch. So once I get them and get it all ready, then I'm thinking, about the maybe about a month or 6 weeks from now. So I want to make sure I'm a researcher. So I want to make sure that everything, like I can know as much as I need to know before I get it going. So, like you had Maria Wingard on here,
Hmm.
and she just jumped right into it. I mean,
Right.
I was just like, she just boom, both feet. And I can do that, but I'm also a researcher and I need to check out everything. I have to just make sure it's all there. Bless you. So
Well,
I'm a
you're
little slower
yeah.
in getting
It's
that
not lack of courage.
going.
You just want you're thorough. Yeah, I get
Right.
it. I get it. But you dove in the deep end. I'm proud of you. I really am. And you know what? I
I
think God's going
did.
to bless
I
it.
did.
And I I hope that not only does God bless it, and not only it reaches the ears of many who otherwise would not hear it, but I hope that it inspires others. Because
Mm,
Stephanie, gosh, you came along to
thank you.
PJNet long ago, and you know, we've grown, and you've grown, and
Hmm.
it's just a wonderful experience
Hmm.
sharing these growing experiences together. So, yes, I'm coaching. I'm trying to motivate. Grow with us. Join us. We'll help. We'll help. And I am looking forward to
Thank you.
all the good news that you have, and your photography. Next thing you know, you're going to have a photography studio. You're getting to be quite the crafts. You are learning many crafts here along the way. I'm jealous of that
I know.
camera you got.
I told Edie, well, you know what? I went for the 4th of July, the photography society I'm a part of had a thing where we could get on the boat on Lake Erie and watch the Cleveland
Hmm.
skyline with this,
Uh-huh.
with the fireworks. And and here I am. I walk on there on this small ship, and I get on, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, Mike, look, their cameras. Everybody's camera is better than mine. And I go,
Oh,
I
come on.
thought I really had a nice camera. And then you get on there and you're just like, like that's like some of those things cost one paycheck, or a month of paychecks, or if not
Yeah.
more than that, depending on what you do. But oh my goodness, I was just amazed at the uh the lenses and everything. And so, but I got my camera because I love waterfalls, and I have to keep going back that's what I really wanted to do,
Yep.
and that's what I am doing. And um and that camera of mine takes good pictures of the waterfalls I love. So
You do a good
I'm
job
happy about
with
that.
it. Well, Stephanie, I guess there'll
Thank
be
you.
more to come next month. We loaded it up this month and we're out of time. Goodness gracious. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing with
Yes.
us. Thank you for being part of our
Thank
team.
you.
And God, and for whatever it's worth, we're with you. Whatever you need, just let us know. And
Thank
I
you.
know that God's going to do an amazing thing through what you're doing. And we appreciate you sharing. I think she locked up.
Thank
That
you.
was,
Thank
yeah,
you.
she said thank you. Okay. Oh gosh, Stephanie Pavlantos with all kinds of good news. Hey, join the team. Okay, what is God encouraging you to do as a Christian? To take that step in faith. It's called courage, and as Christians, we need it. And to help you, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself two questions. First, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for the kingdom of Christ? Well, maybe do a podcast. The second question, is how long ago was that? And as Christians, it is my hope that none of us will be satisfied with either of our answers.